Many people lose battles not because they don't have the strength to overcome the enemy, but because they're not using the right equipment. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, the Bible says that as David was getting ready to go to war with Goliath, Saul took his own armor and put it on David. But David wisely responded to Saul, I have not proved this armor. It's not fit for me to go to war in this. Let me use what I've proved before, a sling and a stone. You ought to do the same. Use the weapons that you know work when you go to war with the enemy. I'm Pastor Branson Villardo. I pray this video will be a blessing to you. In this 5-minute Bible study, I want to talk about David and Saul's armor. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video and share it to help us get the word out, and subscribe to our channel for more great content just like this. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, I want to read to you from verse 38. Before I do, though, I want to set a little bit of the context. Goliath has been challenging the children of Israel to send out a champion of theirs to fight him. But none of the children of Israel want to go out and to fight Goliath because Goliath is a giant and Goliath would easily, in the natural, overpower them. David's had enough of Goliath's yapping, though, and so David decides that he's going to go out and fight Goliath. And what happens is this: after he tells King Saul that he's going to go and fight, it says this in 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse 38. And Saul armed David with his armor, that is, with Saul's armor. And he put a helmet of brass upon his head. Also he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor. And as he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. In other words, he refused to go, for he had not proved it. And David said unto Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off. Now, many people, when they're in a fight or when they're in a battle, when they're in whatever situation they may be confronted with, other people will come to your aid and they'll try and convince you to do what worked for them or what they've used before or the tools and the resources that were beneficial for them. But that's not the way that God instructed King David to operate. Instead, King David, when he saw Saul's armor, rejected it because he said, I haven't used these before. What I am familiar with and what I am comfortable with is the sling and the stone that the Lord gave me. That's how I took out the lion, and that's how I took out the bear, and that's how I plan on taking out this uncircumcised Philistine. Now, many times in life, you'll be confronted with a challenge. You'll be up against something. You'll face a difficulty or a situation that nobody would want to go through. And I want to encourage you today that no matter what you're up against, use the resources that have worked for you before. Many people have a certain way that they've been able to connect with God before. Some people, it's, well, I know every time I go to this place, I have an encounter with God. Other people, every time that I go to this church, I have an encounter with God. Every time that I pray this prayer, I've always seen God come through. Every time that I've asked God to, that's the basis of a relationship. When you have a relationship with somebody, there's a certain way that you're accustomed to speaking to each other, to interacting with each other. And it works the same way with God. And so what you have to do then, as an individual, is what has worked with you before? How have you been able to connect with God before? How have you been able to overcome the enemy before? And then you use those same tools. I know for me, many times over the course of my life, there have been certain scriptures that have popped out to me, that they've spoke to me, that they've come alive in my spirit. When I've needed a miracle, I know that I've been able to pray in a certain way, and God's always come through every time I've prayed like that. Those are the things, those are the tools that have been tried and tested. You don't need to put on Saul's armor. You don't need to use the same resources or the things that the world uses. What you should do instead is you should grab a hold of the tools and the resources that God has used for you and used with you in the past. You use those tools and those resources, and you'll overcome the giant. A new giant doesn't mean different tools. The same tools that took out the lion and the bear will take out the giant that's before you right now. I'm Pastor Branson Velardo. I pray this video has been a blessing to you. I pray you've been encouraged in this 5-minute Bible study. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel for more great content just like this. God bless you. We love you.